Hello, welcome to another episode of the Modern Playbook, The Ghosts. I'm Steve from My Barn Comics. Let's go around and introduce everyone.
Hello, I'm Mr. Long Short. Pulled this presentation together for us tonight, and we're going to talk about some books that are super hard to find.
Red Hood Comic. Who interrupted me?
I did.
Okay, don't do that again.
I won't.
Okay, now this is Red Hood Comic, your friendly neighborhood comic presser. Glad to be here. Okay, bye.
Yo, what's up? Josh Allen here, Pee Wee Jr. 87 on Instagram. I'm just here to look at some dope books.
Hey everybody, it's Mercenut. I do comic book hauls. Catch me on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram, but I don't know if I'll ever post on Instagram. But you can still follow me.
All right. Before we get into this, I just want to put a disclaimer out there, right? Just because these books are hard to find doesn't mean that you should go out and run and throw a ton of money at them. Listen, a lot of us in this hobby, we like the hunt. We like to hunt things that are tough to find. That doesn't necessarily mean that these books should be trading at ridiculous values. So just because you see a book on here tonight and you can't find it, don't throw a ton of money at it. You might be able to find it out there in the wild. This is not meant to elevate the prices of any of these. These are just books that a bunch of us on the panel have had some experience with and just wanted to share it with the group. So just wanted to put that out there before we get started.
All right, let's go to the first one.
All right, so Uncanny X-Men number 510. This is a J. Scott Campbell cover. This is an expensive book. So this was a convention variant that was given out, as far as everybody knows, or we can find in Charlotte and at SDCC. The last 9.8 sale was recorded on this book was back in July of 2018 for $12,500. It's crazy. There are 22 9.8s on the CGC census and 51 total copies. Silent covers are hugely sought after, and this one is one of the toughest. I will say that this book, there's a variant. It's a 1 in 25 or 1 in 50, I want to say, that's a sort of a full color version of this that's easier to get, but still expensive in its own right. But a book I've never seen, I don't think most people have seen, but a genuine ghost.
Yeah, I'd be curious if this was back in 2009 before J. Scott Campbell was sort of J. Scott Campbell. I mean, I wonder if he even had a booth, like he does these days at the show, or if he just had a regular table. This is it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, a super awesome book. Carter, you ever seen this one?
Oh, of course. I've seen. I've come across the color version. I remember finding that one at a show for $15. I remember that. That was a fun day. As far as this one goes, this one kind of hurts a little bit. Just recently, this one had come up for $25 on one of the sites. I'm not going to say which, but I was late by, I believe, minutes.
Oh,
wow.
Minutes.
Yeah,
So.
well, that would leave a mark. Yeah, I mean, a big book, and it's got a lot of appeal, right? Campbell, Psylocke, what's not to love?
Yeah, and since I'm big into foreign comics, I will add that input that there is a Mexican color version of this book. So if you don't want to pay ridiculous money and you can't find it, it's always an option. It's way cheaper.
That is good stuff. Josh, that's why we love having you on this show. Good context like that.
Did you just say Mexicans are cheaper, bro?
All right, with
Watch
that,
your
we'll
mouth,
go
bro.
to the next slide.
Watch your mouth, S.H.I.E.L.D.
They took your germs.
Don't be talking about me, vato.
All right, so here we've got Black Widow #2. This is a Stephanie Hans 1 in 20 variant. This book hasn't sold in a while in 9.8 that I was able to find. $460 back in 2019. 798s and only 18 copies on the census in total. 24,000 copies ordered roughly. Which means, right, the math I like to do is that there's 2,000 stores. So on average, stores weren't ordering 20 copies of this. This is not a book you see very often, but it is cool. It is really cool looking, and one I've been looking for years and had never come across.
I've never seen this cover. It's
Me either.
It's
This
amazing.
is totally new.
I found that book for $5 a few years ago.
What'd you sell it for, though? How much did you get for it?
I think I got it was a VF copy, and I think I got like $200 after fees.
That's a pretty good turnaround, man.
Putting beat up books back on the market.
Mm-hmm. Man. I wasn't gonna press it. It definitely wasn't a 9.8, even if after a press.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Carter. I mean, you are the exception to every rule when it comes to these books, I would say. But for people who look for these things, these are not particularly easy to come by. I haven't got a whiff of this one as much as I'd like to, and I've got like a thing for Black Widow covers and. Very high up on the list. I will say this also before we on this another qualifier. Some of these books that we talk about, they can be really difficult to find, and after we bring them to light, you shake the trees and a bunch of them fall out. So maybe they're less rare than we think. But having sort of hunted these books, we've had a hard time finding them. Once they're sort of surfaced and brought to life, you could maybe see many more come out. And that changes sort of their status, but given sort of what we know today, all of these books are really sort of really hard to come by, which is not to say that if they're not, if they're not exposed, then it sort of changes that. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how the Black Widow, even though ScarJo's out of the universe, or maybe she isn't, since they've kissed and made up with Disney, even the Hughes covers lately for the regular series, seem to be, none of them are really popping, but they're doing decent, right? And if I could guess,
like Black Cat, a number of other characters. I mean, they're just collectible books with Black Widow, right? I mean, I think people want them. I've got. I think I've been subconsciously collecting Black Widow covers for years without really realizing it, right? She's just got a lot of cool books. So I think there's definitely some appeal there. And regardless if she's in the MCU going forward or not, I think there's still going to be, demand for these books for a long time. And sorry to cut you off.
If you showed me this cover and asked me to guess who drew it, it wouldn't be Hans, because she tends to have a little bit more of a... I don't know. I want to say softer filter, on these. The only thing that may be sort of a giveaway is, the shape, right? Because she does have that, like if you look at her die covers, right? They have that geometrical element to them. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep the show rolling.
Yep.
All right, another book I have never been able to get a sniff of. Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider #2. This is a WADA 1 in 50. I couldn't find any sales data on this book. I couldn't find any evidence that it's on the census. There's 37,000 copies of this roughly ordered, which means that not many shops are ordering 50 copies of this book. So I've never been able to find this. If anybody knows any different, by all means, please leave it in the comments. But a book I've been on the hunt for a few years now and haven't got anywhere near. Anybody got experience with this one?
I could have swore maybe I'd come across that, and I was just like, you know, like that's the type of book that I would have passed up like a few years ago. Now, you know, circling back now, I would definitely be on it, but back then I probably wouldn't have appreciated it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, these high ratio books on relatively small orders. I mean, they've got a ton of appeal now. And there was a time where ratios were kind of frowned upon. When it doesn't feel like it was even that long ago, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like Wada. Not all of his stuff, but this is one of his best works, and I'd love to add it to the collection if I ever found it, but haven't got anywhere close to it.
Yeah, so I remember when this series came out, and it was the second Robbie Reyes series, and it was after all the hysteria surrounding him being on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, right, and that lit up the all new Ghost Rider series. And I think by the time the second series came out, all that had died down. I don't, maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D was canceled by then, but yeah, I feel like maybe a lot of retailers are scratching their head, going, "Why are they putting out a second, another reboot of Robbie Reyes?"
Right.
Wasn't it because there was some speculation on the Hulu show that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, we're going to see him again. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I'd be
something
curious to
happened where
see
they
what.
just.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the sales data would be if this popped up, because it's a guy on the cover, right? And the comic folks don't seem to go for that, and he's not even his skull isn't even on fire. So
where's the appeal on that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, girls collect books too, man. So that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about some of those Grayson variants that have kind of died, where it was just Dick Grayson, but not Robin. But also, that's DC, so
Dick
maybe.
Grayson, agent of what was the agency he was a part of?
Come on.
Was it
I want
Spiral?
to say Spiral, but that's not it. It's
It sounds like it should be Spiral, but it sounds way too Marvel.
yeah.
But I remember those Dick Grayson covers.
Yeah.
Like those were expensive back in the day. I remember.
Oh
that.
yeah. Yep. All right. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's keep it moving. We can talk about these books all day if we don't be careful.
All right.
All right, I'm going to come out of the gate. This is not a ghost, but, and this is a big but, it should be, or it could be. Let's let it could be. So this was next to the last issue in the Hellcat run. Who the hell is doing a 1 in 25 at this point in the Hellcat run? And we've talked about books in this run before. I look for higher ratios later in runs. It's just something I kind of just keep my eyes open for. So this book, there's nothing really going for it. The cover's kind of cool. I wouldn't say it's really cool. It's kind of cool, I guess. But there was only about 12,000 copies ordered of this book, which means nobody was ordering 25 copies of this thing. Who was ordering 25 copies of Hellcat 11? Genuinely no one. There's one copy in 9.8 on the census. And you can find this book out there for 20, 25 bucks, right? It's not an expensive book. I can't imagine there are a ton of these out there. I don't know for a fact, but given that those copies ordered, given the ratio, this seems like a book that could be fall into that ghost category. Not to say anybody will ever give a shit about it, ever, but I grabbed one, happy to have it in the collection, and I do like to feature these books that have sort of all the characteristics, if you will, to sort of end up on the ghost list one or become a ghost one day. So just putting this one out there. It's not there yet. If you want it, you can go find it. It's not expensive. Just thought I'd talk about it.
Yeah, I'd pass it over because it's fucking ugly, I just go, oh, this is the regular cover. Plus, when it has that 011, in the right hand, up above the UPC instead of the corner, that kind of makes it even harder to pick out. So
I think I'm rubbing off on Steve, man.
I know even before I said it, I said I'm gonna sound like Joe, but you know,
Come to me.
I jumped to the other side. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
It's
All right.
awesome.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. Not
All
much
right.
more to say about this. All right, Steve, this is your book. Why don't you talk about this one?
All right. So, just in all forthrightness, yes, I do own a copy of this. I picked it up recently. That's how I discovered it. And then I started looking around, and I was like, to do a comparison, go like, is this worth anything? You know, I kind of just picked it out, and I started looking around, and there wasn't. And to be quite honest, it's not the most beautiful cover either. Maybe we put this and the Hellcat together for a reason.
No way, man. I think this is cool as shit.
You like this?
Man.
Yeah,
I like
it.
Ramos, man.
You
Ramos.
do? I mean, I like Ramos sometimes. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't turn me on.
No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamala sort of, on covers is always a good bet, right? Always.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
Okay, so
It's
who is
just-
she
I don't
fighting
know.
on the cover?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it?
Anyone know?
Is that a first appearance or no? Of that particular character.
Yeah,
Who the hell that is?
that?
Because I own a copy and apparently it's a ghost, I'll say it's a new character. And that I read today on what are sites that some of our colleagues check out. One of those sites said that character is going to be in the show. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. Honestly.
So there are 2 copies of this on the census, both signature series, interestingly enough.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So,
And why is it S.H.I.E.L.D? Is it S.H.I.E.L.D?
Yeah, it's S.H.I.E.L.D. number 2.
Ugh, ew, who collects that series? Ugh.
They had the weren't the photo covers the 1 in 10? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, I think it was like volume 1 of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'm just like, why am I reading this horse shit? Nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. And now they're on volume, I think this is like volume 3 or something like that. I'm like, no, I can't do it. And I'm trying to look up the bad guy that she's fighting, and I don't know who this guy is.
Well, yeah, and Marvel, that they'll put totally unrelated stuff on the cover. I mean, they probably aren't in this book, but anyway, all right, we'll move on to the next one.
All right, next on the list. All right, this was Phil's contribution to the list. So Scarlet Witch number 10. This is a 1 in 15 cosplay variant. This book hasn't sold in a while. $75 back in 2019. 17 total copies on the census. 11 and 9/8, and about 15,000-ish copies ordered. So, on average, stores weren't ordering 15 copies of this. I've never seen this, but Phil definitely wanted to make sure that we included it. And Scarlet Witch is looking very busty, shall we say, in this particular cover.
Yeah, she doesn't look natural.
Are you saying she is enhanced?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, some of these
Based
cosplay
on my
variants,
experience.
some of these cosplay variants are interesting. I think they were all 1 in 15s this particular run, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you think Phil nominated this because that cosplayer has some powers? Do you see the shit coming out of her hands, dude?
Yeah.
How'd she do that?
Yeah, see, so that's where I can see why he nominated it. It's pretty badass. I mean, there's a few of those kinds of people out there, so like, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Let's keep.
Hey,
All right.
real fast, going back to that S.H.I.E.L.D. Variant. I guess it is the first appearance of that guy on the cover.
Oh God.
What's his name?
Grayson Blair.
He does have a superhero name, or does he just go by Grayson?
Yeah, it just looks like he goes by Grayson Blair.
All right.
I can't find
Yeah.
like a cool superhero name for him.
All
And it
right,
seems to
well,
be his only appearance too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not selling my copy, but my Instagram is my bargain comics. So, okay.
When Grayson Blair takes over Miles, watch out, man. This book is gonna be the book.
That's right. Right. That's right. When he becomes the second multiracial Spider-Man. Yeah. Yeah.
All
You
right.
heard it here first, guys.
All right, so this is Carter's book. Actually, I was watching Carter's videos. If you guys aren't watching Carter's pickup videos, you're doing something wrong. I was watching an old one. When I'm on long, I throw them on when I'm like in the car, and this book came up. So I'm not going to stop talking. Carter, you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Not really, because I bought this book like years ago. I want to say maybe 7 years ago. Batwoman number 31. This is the Batman 66 variant. I remember for a time this one was really hard to find, really tough, and but then after a while it just kind of cooled off. I think I sold that probably at the right time. I forget how much I sold it for, but I remember being happy with it, and then it just like crashed. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't find anything on this book. No sales data. I forgot to look up the copies ordered. As you can see, should be a number in there.
Yeah.
There's 398s, 5 copies on the total census. I couldn't find anything. It's a cool looking book.
I love it.
The yellow on that black and blue back. It's a good looking book, man. All red. I mean, at his very best. I mean, this is a really cool book.
It's a fun. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun cover.
It's got that Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
you know?
totally,
Yeah.
man.
Yep.
Trying to. Yes. Okay. I'm looking at my eBay archive site. I think the last time this thing sold was in 2018 for like $30, and that's pretty much all I could find on it.
Is that a raw, Carter?
Yeah, raw.
Yeah, I think a couple of these Batman 66s are hard to find. And even if you go into the actual Batman 66 series that they did, some of those variants, I think we covered one on a previous episode.
We featured a couple of them, yeah. No more than at least 2 on Ghosts before of really tough books to get in the 66 family, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's good. I'll keep my eye open for it. I've never seen it, but maybe one day. You never know.
Would be nice.
All right, Carter, this is all you, man.
This is Cage number 2. No, it's Cage.
It's just Cage. Yeah, I screwed up. It's just Cage.
Cage.
Yeah, no Luke. It's just Cage
with an exclamation point. Number 2. This is a Bruce Timm cover. This is 1000% one of my favorite covers. I remember coming across this. Actually, it was number 4 from this series. It's an Art Adams cover. I loved that one, and then I was looking at other covers in the series, and then I came across this one. I'm like, ooh! So I picked this one up earlier this year, and I meant to buy another one, and then all of a sudden, poof, they all dried up. So I can't find anything. I legitimately can't find anything when it comes to this cover anymore. You know, and that's as somebody that had an opportunity to buy probably multiple copies. I just bought that one, and then all of a sudden they just kind of all dried up. later in the year. So and as far as how much this book goes for and all that kind of fancy fly stuff, who knows? But it's a great cover. I love it. Great play on the blaxploitation movie poster.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tim. I've looked for this thing. I can't get a whiff of it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is gone. Kaiser Soze, gone. And
Well, didn't like the readership like hate this from the very get-go? I remember reading a lot of online hate for this series. I forget what it was. Well, I think maybe the interior art or something like that. Does that ring a bell? No.
I don't think people liked Luke Cage's beard in the series. I think that was it.
I think that happened to me when I grew a beard once. It was a bleeding pool and everything.
This is a fantastic cover. This is definitely my favorite one so far, for sure.
And which countries can we get it in, Josh?
U.S. only?
Who knows, honestly.
All right.
For the next one.
This is also cover.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, this is another really tough book to find. Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order, Dark Temple, number 5. This is the 1 in 10 variant. And what's the... I could have swore I looked up how many copies were printed.
It's on there at the bottom, Carter.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you divide that by 10 and you get what 1/1600?
10% of that would be,
yes,
1,600. But the problem is that, if you assume 2,000 stores, like they weren't ordering, they weren't ordering 10 each, right? So on average, so it's probably less than that. Obviously, the Midtowns and all these guys load up on them, but I looked around. This is an impossible book, I think part of this is the Star Wars phenomenon, right? When the Star Wars guys get involved in books, they come off the market and they never come back. I think that's part of what's going on with this one. I would think like they hoard all that stuff, right? It's not up for resale. It's not spec. It's just like in the collection forever.
You offend a Star Wars fan when you talk about spec.
Yes, that's just
what more did I want to say about this? There was a very recent sale within the last few weeks. It was like a $50 buy it now, and of course it got snapped up immediately. But recent sales were like what? Yeah, like it says in the label. Recent sale, like a 9.6 was what, $300. Raws were going for $250. You know what I'm saying? And I think like that series, Fallen Order, Dark Temple, like the number one, like just a raw copy of number 1, which is the first appearance of the second sister, who's on the cover right there. That's like I think what's it? Like a $30 to $40 book, and I'm talking just raw. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the first cover appearance, and this cover is clean. That is a gorgeous cover. You know what I'm saying? It's just simple.
Yeah.
It's to the point. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
Is that a bad guy or a good? I don't know. What's happening there?
You got the red lightsabers, right?
Yeah, I thought she was bad guy from the video game.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, or bad girl.
That's a bad bitch. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if if another $300 copy, raw copy, it pops up, it'll probably get snagged up pretty easily.
Yeah, it was 9.6 for $300. I mean, that's a pretty good.
Yeah.
it doesn't help that it's the last issue of the series, so retailers had a chance to judge based on the sales of the first couple issues how many to order. And I was looking on Diamond, so this shipped in December, early December 2019. So I feel like that was like the month, maybe that I want to say that it was the month that Star Wars comic mania exploded, but maybe this was too early, just right on the verge of it.
Yeah, before the probably FOC was before it actually.
The hysteria.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
Next on the list. All right, so real quick on this book. So I learned about this book. Somebody reached out to me on IG and said, "Hey, have you ever seen this book?" And I'm like, "No, but I need to have it." Right? I don't collect Star Wars, but this cover is right up my alley. Right up my. I mean, this is brilliant. I couldn't find it. I will say I did find one in Australia, thanks to Dino, the Flipside CEO. He helped me find one of these. There's no data on this book. In full disclosure, I paid $40 shipped for this. This is a subscription variant, so you can only get this if you subscribe to the Star Wars Insider, is my understanding. And Star Wars people don't let go of their stuff. There's really very few pictures of this book, even on the internet. No sign of it anywhere. But when I saw it, I had to have it for my collection. So I will say, I believe that when I was talking about it with some of the guys, I think Nico said he's got a copy of this as well. But I haven't seen much evidence of this book out there. Anybody got any thoughts on this one?
It's
Gorgeous.
fucking badass.
No, I was looking it up on Diamond again, and they do have this artwork associated with the previews exclusive edition, but sometimes this stuff is screwed up. So I'd be curious if there's the newsstand, the subscription, and the PX, and if so, if the PX actually has this artwork or not.
I mean, if you search up this image on Google,
Yeah,
you find like a link to IMDb
Mhm.
for the actress.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, there's not a lot behind
Yeah.
this. My first question to the chat was, does this book even exist? Right? Because I couldn't find really any evidence of it. So listen, I don't have it in my hands yet, so this thing may never show up from Australia. Who the fuck knows? But we will see. If it does, I will post some pictures of it. But I just felt that we needed to talk about it.
Who is that character?
Her name is Maris Brood.
Her name is Mama.
Maris Brood or something like that, I believe is what it is. And I'm not a Star Wars guy, but that's what her name is. MARS BROOD, maybe. Somebody correct me in the chat if they know different.
Sounds good to me.
no one can ever pronounce any Star Wars names correctly. So
She's got an action figure. There's not a lot of her out there. She does have an action figure. I know that for sure.
are you going to get that action figure and play with it?
No. But the book I'm hoping to get.
Okay.
I would like to have this in my collection. This is sort of in my sweet spot. So
Yeah, when you posted this in the chat, I was like, I need this.
It
And
looks
then
like one of your
then-
foreign books, Josh.
Yeah, well, it's funny because he said he got it from Australia, which bravo, because I mean, shipping from Australia is like $20 in itself. So you got.
well, that's
the
what it was.
for,
The
like,
book was
20
$20
bucks.
and shipping
Yeah,
was $20. It was
yeah.
40.
Yeah, I'm not a Star Wars guy at all, and when you posted this, I was like, wow.
She came from a land down under. All right.
So what's her first comic book appearance?
So this character, as far as I could, and I am not a Star Wars guy, she showed up in a video game, is my understanding.
Okay.
But no comics yet?
I don't know. I looked. I searched Carter. I didn't find it.
Did you ask Phil? Phil would probably know.
Damn it!
So
No.
look at it. Oh yeah, it's so and so.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm pretty sure her name's Maris Brood, if I'm not mistaken. Like I
Yeah,
think
well,
that's
yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm looking her up on eBay right now, and all I'm seeing are action figures.
yeah, she's got a figure for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody like recut that like a custom figure with this picture, like in the this is not the picture in the background
Yeah.
of the figure, but somebody like had a custom one with this in the background. I remember finding that somewhere.
Damn.
They really wanted to play with it. Okay.
All right.
Speaking of,
All right,
things
so
to
we're
play
moving
with.
on to Zombie Tramp #1. This is a ghost in an expensive book. All right, let's talk about a little bit why we're talking about Zombie Tramp on this. It's an independent comic book that's on a pretty good run. It's not 100 issues just yet, but it's getting pretty damn close. It's in the mid 80s. And when a book has that kind of longevity, I think it's worth talking about. And I've also heard creators talking about how they enjoyed this book. I've never really read it consistently, but I've started to pick it up. So this is her first appearance. This was a mini series. It was 4 issues, and it's really difficult to find. The highest raw sale actually in this book was $1,300, $1,350. The last raw sale that I was able to find was $632 back in 2019. There were 2 9/8s on the census, 9 total copies. So a ghost in every sense of the word. Just a book I wanted to put on here. I don't know what they mean by "she'll blow your brains out" because she doesn't use guns, but it could be a typo, perhaps.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, just a book I wanted to highlight. I've never got anywhere close to this book. I do think there's a copy for sale on eBay in the 900 range, if I'm not mistaken. I would say this: I'd be careful. There are reprints of this book, so there's a second and third printing, and then there's a new edition of this book. It's called like Zombie Tramp Origin or something, but the cover looks identical. And those later ones are not as hard to come by. Cool to have, but don't pay up for those. Even the late printings of this original one are probably worth grabbing if you ever see them. But a book I just wanted to have on here. You're unlikely to ever see this out there, but it's a really, really difficult book.
Yeah, I bought a Zombie Tramp collection a few years ago. That's mainly what was in it, and some of those books are just unbelievable because Dan Mendoza, he did convention variants, and some of them are very valuable. I blew the last of them out in a Whatnot auction prior to Halloween. It was okay results because I think I'd sold most of the good stuff. One of them I even got slabbed a couple years ago and sold. So yeah, if you really have to know your Zombie Tramp, and of course this is the major key, right?
Some of the books go for crazy money. I never really knew much about it. I've only recently started to look into it, and I'm kind of shocked at what's out there because the print runs are obviously super low, even for the most recent stuff. Anemic. So
yeah, most variants they limit to either 2,000 or 3,000, which I think actually depresses the value of some of them. But it's one of those series where you definitely have to know you don't want to overpay because there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of variants. So
every book seems to have 5 variants, right? So like,
right. Yeah.
But I think the average, and there's always seems to be one within that run that becomes sought after. So, from what I've been able to gather. So anyways, just something I wanted to put out there. I would like to find this, but I'm not paying the asking price for it. So,
right. Very cool.
Very cool. All right, we've got another Zombie Tramp book I think worth talking about real quickly.
Let me just jump back here for a second because we did have AOA in the chat say, because we were asking about if she's appeared in comics. He said she isn't in a comic book, but then he did say she's in this Force Unleashed graphic novel. I think I've seen some of those Force Unleashed graphic novels graded because it's a thin trade, I believe.
AOA, thank you for that. We really appreciate that context. Thank you so much. That's why we've got the best the best followers in the game. So thank you.
All right.
All right. So this is another zombie tramp. So this is, I just want to touch on this one quickly. This book is super hard to find. I actually found a copy of this. It was a long story. It was for sale in Canada, but they wouldn't ship to the US. So I had to find someone to Canada to ship it to me. So Angel Lynch is the second zombie tramp. Her first appearance is really in Zombie Tramp 57, but on these NYCC books, she shows up on the cover. These were limited to 100. There's this one, and there's also a risque version, which is this cover, but just without her bikini top on for whatever reason. But very difficult books to come by. The last public raw sale was 200. I did not pay 200 for the copy that I was able to find, but a very difficult book to get your hands on. I got mine, I think, with shipping and everything was probably 60, 65 all in, something like that. But a book that I kind of had my eye on for a while and was happy to find a copy of it. Yeah, it's a nice foil cover, and this is the first time we see this second Zombie Tramp number 2 on this cover, though she does not appear inside. There's one copy on the census, and it's a 9.8.
Joe, what do you think? Does it reach Mama status?
It's pretty damn close. Those are some tig old biddies, that's for sure.
All right, I don't think there's anything else to offer on this book. We can keep the.
I just wonder. I feel like I've read. It may have been a CBSI article recently where someone was saying, hey, maybe this could be a, some type of show or something.
Yeah, Joe. That's so. I put that book up that Joe's got right there. That Pulp Fiction variant.
Yep.
So we talked about how some of these books fetch pretty good prices. This is one that's really highly sought after.
Mama.
This Pulp Fiction variant right here. So, this only really kind of got on my radar because I was talking with some creators, and I just heard this book come up from like 2 or 3 different people saying that they really enjoy it. They've been reading it for a long time. Creators, I'm not going to call them out on this, but I just kind of caught me by surprise. 2 of them, I believe, were women that they just liked reading this book, and so I just thought I'd dig into it a little bit and sort of coming up with some some relatively interesting books. So anyways,
cool.
Yeah, you're probably not going to find this out in the wild most likely, but if you're at a con and it's in a variant box, I don't know, grab it if it's reasonably priced.
This is that's the type of artwork that, like, you look at Scotty Young stuff, and back in the day you would dismiss it, and much the same like this Zombie Tramp stuff, but now it's like it's had a chance to marinate and kind of like, well, let me reconsider some of these books, and some of these books are just so hard to find, and they do command a premium now. So if you catch any of these books out in the wild and they're in great shape and they're a candidate, send it off and get it graded.
Yeah, 100%. And Mendoza's, he's got a style into himself, like Scotty Young, just like as you pointed out. So, listen, I'm not saying there's ever going to be a show of this, but if there was an adult-oriented show that was sort of an entertaining, animated type thing, who the hell knows? But just something worth being aware of. So the only reason why we put it on here. So
cool.
Okay, this is a book I've been hunting for a while. This is
I love that book, man.
What's that?
I love that book.
Yeah, Lady Mechanica. I mean, listen, this is a character that Benitez certainly loves, right? Anytime you have a creator who's like invested in a character, at least pay attention to it. I've wanted this book for a while. So she first appears in issue number 0. It's kind of funny. Back in the 90s, issue number 0 came out a hell of a lot later than issue number 1. But in this particular one, 0 was her first appearance. There's several different covers for this. This is the hardest one to come by. I can't find any sniff of this anywhere. But it's my favorite. I like the black and the purple. A really sort of sharp looking book. And there are 60 copies on the census, so that's not super small, 30 and 9.8. But this book has not sold in forever, right? And
I remember seeing this book on the CBSI the Wednesday one, and I remember like looking for it and I couldn't find it. This was back in 2017. Yep.
Yeah, this was sold in NYCC largely, but there's a few other convention variants, but this is the most difficult one to find, and it's sort of been on my saved Google searches for a while. It never pops up, but a cool book. And I would say, listen, it probably makes sense to buy her first appearance, right? There's a cover A, there's a cover B, there's a few other convention variants, but when a creator's this committed to a character, it's worth tucking away. Like the cover A and the cover B, you can probably find them for 40 or 50 bucks, which is not cheap, but who knows what a character like this becomes when you have someone so invested in it. So I just thought it was worth putting on the presentation tonight.
Isn't there a different series of Lady Mechanica, like Volume 1, Volume 2?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new one that just started this week, Carter. It's Lady Mechanica. I forget what it's called. You know what? I've literally got it right here. Lady Mechanica. This is the cover B. Monsters of the Ministry. So there's been a number of like mini series going for. So it's ongoing. She's with Image now, but you've got a creator who loves this, and the stories are good. I mean, I don't know if you've ever read it, but I mean, they're good reads, and just something. I
and is this Benitez who's doing the? Did he do this cover or?
On this one, I'm pretty sure this is him. This is Joe. Yeah, on this one, I'm almost certain.
I mean, look at the intricacy of that. I love detailed artwork, and I mean, even look at the background pattern. How her sleeve, the wrinkles in it. I mean, even just the font. I mean, everything is just, the line work is just amazing.
Josh, I know you like Lady Mechanica. Do you have this one in your collection by any chance?
No, I don't. This is a gorgeous cover.
Hey, so they got a second print one, and one's on eBay. I don't know if you guys can go to that. That one looks fucking fire also, dude.
The second print is nice. It's not a second print of this cover here, but
it's not?
print is, there's a second, there's a third. I mean, there's lots of different printings of this book, and they're beautiful. I mean, all of them, like literally the entire like run of issue zeros, are all fucking fire, man.
Damn.
Yeah, I would love to find this book.
Hell yeah.
Nice. All right.
This is all Josh. There's no sales date on this book because I couldn't hope to find anything about it. So Josh, you want to take this one away then?
Yeah, sure. So as some people know, I'm really big into the foreign comic collecting scene, and I'm very thankful that Ben reached out to me, asked me for some really tough to find foreign variants. So I sent him this one. This is the only picture I've ever seen of this book. It came out in 2015 in the UAE. And that's really all I know about it. Like, I wish I could talk more about it, but I mean, it's out there, but I only know of 2 people that have posted a picture of this book. So it's definitely not per se a ghost book, but I mean, how many people have
like urban legend than ghost?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like I mean, and how many people have contacts in the UAE? Like, I mean, I'm sure you could get one, but I have no idea how hard that is.
Unless you're a sleeper cell, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done some crazy stuff, so I mean, it's possible. I mean, not to get off track, but I mean, there's some foreigns that have been released in the country of Georgia, which is like right below Turkey. And I mean, I've joined some crazy Facebook groups to just try and like, get whiffs of books and be like, can you please help me? Like, so, I mean, it's possible, but I thought this was great. I mean, it's definitely a lot of people that collect foreigns. They do cover sets where they try and just put all the same cover from all the different countries together. So, I mean, this would definitely be the toughest one for this book.
Yeah, listen, man. If you like foreign comics, I'm gonna plug here. I mean, Josh is super knowledgeable about this stuff. He does amazing whatnot auctions, international comics. Is that what it is, Josh? I don't want to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we have Rob Fordham as part of the channel as well. He's also super knowledgeable about foreigns. This is a growing part of our hobby, right? It's definitely starting to expand. And if you like rare stuff, it's super fun. I mean, Josh has taught me a ton about this. And we have John Z as well. I don't think John Z is going to come slum it with us. He sort of plays only on the flagship, but he's also super smart about this stuff. So they're all great resources. They post really good information about these kinds of books. And once the foreign bug bites you, I'll tell you personally, like it's hard to let go. Like there's something about it that's just addictive.
It's rough. Like if I told you guys how much money I probably spent like just last year alone on foreigns, you'd probably be like, "Holy fuck!" Like, but yeah, it's if you're into rarer stuff, I mean, foreigns, it doesn't get any better than that. As long as you can get past it being in another language, I mean, it's the same book. If you know the story inside, you know the story.
So I want to. Hey, there's a comment in the chat. Double J's Comics. I don't know who you are, man. I put this together. I didn't watch anybody else's Ghost channel, so it's all good. Thanks for joining late, but feel free to reach out. But this was all me, just books I've been chasing. So if that's the case, so be it. But
what do you say?
We didn't rip this off from anybody.
Right. Yeah, JJ, it's no, yeah, I'm a big fan of that other channel, but yeah, it's kind of really inappropriate to do that. I mean, we've been doing Ghosts for 2 or 3 years, I think. Long before that channel. It's not really cool. Not really cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I'm happy to address it, but feel free to reach out directly if you'd like to talk about it. I'm more than happy to.
Okay.
All right, so we've got another foreign here, Josh. I want this book, but let's talk about it.
All right, so this is the Amazing Spider-Man 601. This is the Danish edition. It came out in 2010. They did a 408 issue run, and this was number 404. J. Scott Campbell got the covers to 404 and 406.
I thought that was the one you sold me, Josh. You ripped me off, dude.
Which one is that?
I think it's the Italian one.
Oh, okay.
You told me it was Danish. You told me she was a Danish.
I actually do have this book, but it's the only copy I've seen of it so far. It's the same in other countries as it is here. When you get towards the end of a run, obviously the print run drops off and all that stuff. So, and if you're a J. Scott Campbell fan, period, there are a ton of super nice foreigns to grab.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what the print run for a Danish comic book is. Like what is like the run rate? Is it 10,000? Is it 15,000? Is it 25,000? Is it 2,000? Right? I mean, it can't be anywhere near what we see here in the U.S., even remotely close. I wouldn't think.
No, not from like the Nordic countries like this. Their stuff, I can't imagine. I don't know for certain, but just having done this for a while, I mean, I can't imagine it's anywhere near, what this was probably over here.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I went to Denmark when I was in high school, and I remember reading and that was like the early peak of my comic book addiction in high school. But I was over there. I was reading a copy of G.I. Joe. It was called Action Force, if I'm not mistaken, and it was my favorite issue of G.I. Joe. and I was reading it on the can. I was in the bathroom. It was on the back of the, and then the reading stack on the back of the toilet. I was like, holy shit. And it was all in Danish, right? And I was like, this is super cool. I should have taken it, but I didn't. I left it.
It's a good thing you left it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have one more tonight. This is it, man.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the Batman Adventure 12s, and this is from Romania. It is by Eve Press, and I don't know the exact year it released, but the original was 93, so this had to either have been like 94 or 95, because most of the international editions of this, they're within like a year or two. This is like Ghost book. I have personally been trying to get a copy of this book for the past 3 years, and it hasn't panned out. I mean, there's only so many people that I know in Romania, so
Yeah, I get a mental picture of people looking out for books for you, like they're spies, and they've got a cigarette looking for Batman Adventures 12.
Dude, I could totally see that. It's
for Josh Allen.
I get a picture of? I get a picture of the scene from Seinfeld when Jerry's looking for the house in Tuscany. Is like, and he's like, yeah, this one. We got this one.
Yeah. So there's I think in the set there's probably, I want to say off the top of my head, there's at least 8, 9, 10 of these, and this one and the one from South Africa, which was the other picture I sent you. Those
I
are the
saved
two.
that one for a future one. I didn't want to drop two BA12s on this one, but I got it for a future Ghost episode.
Yeah, those are definitely the two tough ones. Like I said, I mean, I've been going at this book for 3 years, and I had one guy that was like, "Oh yeah, I got one of those," and then I just never heard from him again. So I was like, "Great."
He was killed.
The question is, why is Poison Ivy purple in this? Is there is that part of the story? Or?
I mean, you've seen some of the foreign books I've shown. Like they just did not care about like colors at all. I mean, I got stuff from Norway where they did like hot pink on like Tales to Astonish books. Like the whole background's just hot pink. Like, I mean, I'm assuming it was just for marketing. Like, look at this.
I think it makes her look more poisonous.
And that is true.
She had some serious poison, man. She's almost dead. All right. So I think that's all we've got for tonight. Listen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody watching these. As always, if there are ghost books that you are chasing and you want to share them, drop them in the comments. We will try to include them in future episodes. Interaction from the community is super important for us in this channel. And we appreciate everybody spending some time with us tonight.
All right. Till next time. Thank you.
Right.
And broad.